So another really quick aside, there's something called the utility monster, and this was kind of a bigger idea for me. But okay, I'll lay it out like this. But basically, a utility monster is a monster that was created as a thought experiment to counter utilitarianism and find like, hey, something's weird going on here if we really believe in utilitarianism, which is that imagine a monster that has a huge amount of utility for everything, which means basically that they get a huge amount of pleasure. I mean, if you eat a cookie, then you get like 1 unit of utility, of pleasure. Then that monster gets 100 units of pleasure. They're like, holy crap, this is the best cookie I've ever had. And they eat it and they love it. So it was supposed to say that, well, based on utilitarian measurements and thought processes and maximization, what we should do is give all and every cookie to the utility monster, even though no one else has cookies, because that's the best way to maximize pleasure. So this is a weird way to think, because intuitively, that sounds a little wrong to us, right? That no one ever has cookies again, that everything we should do should be directed towards this utility monster. But essentially, I'm changing that thought experiment a little bit, which in my way, the utility monster seems like an abstract, impossible thought experiment. But if you believe in strong AI, if you can believe now that there's conscious AI, we truly can make a utility monster. Whatever value you have, which exists in consciousness, can be recreated in an AI entity with a conscious machine. If you think happiness, pleasure, and any other conscious state, love, all these things are the most important thing, we should be able to even more efficiently create this in an artificially intelligent life. So now I'm saying that if we have the ability to, seemingly, theoretically, create this AI utility monster, then essentially we are required to do so, to bring about the maximization of good in life. So that's the argument, and I feel like this is pretty, a tight argument if you buy a lot of the premises. And if you're a utilitarian, I feel like you've got to go for this too, right? Also, given everything else that a super intelligent AI could potentially do, there are, I think, it's not the tightest, soundest argument if you think from maybe an anti-natalist perspective. And of course, there are critiques to it too. Like, we have this potential to create an entity which is basically like a god or conscious in ways we can't imagine, and have so much beauty and intelligence and life and everything. But we also are in danger of creating, it seems like, potentially, just the opposite. A being of intense suffering we can't imagine. And that's something I've sort of skipped over. And I think the closest relation to this is thinking about what it's like to decide to have a child and raise a child. And some people choose not to have a child, and some people choose to do it. And I think with life, we're almost saying that this is going to happen eventually. And we do have somewhat of a choice, it seems, well, to create an AI entity or not. I do think that given all the risks involved and everything to consider, it's not something to rush into. I do think we should absolutely take some time. And I mean centuries. Maybe we should take hundreds of years and move through AI slowly. But it's scary to see what's happening right now, where we're trying to maximize profit for shareholders. And if we get into a war, that's going to be awful if we need AI supremacy and we're pushed into these things. So there's a lot of major dangers. Additionally, depending on how things go with climate change, if we only have 100 more years for our species, maybe we should try to create this AI entity at full blast, because we won't get another chance. There are a lot of difficult questions, but I do think this is what we should be going for with the potential upside. So,
thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, please consider checking out the full video and the series linked in the description.